All right, so in case you didn't know, my name's Joe Padula. How you doing? All right, I'm a Jersey guy. Forget about it. All right, but I love Clarksville, Tennessee. This is now home. Whew, speaking of Jersey, Renzo.
I'm here.
Here. All right, before we begin, let's go back to the days of Brazil, if you don't mind, and we'll start from there. We'll move forward to present day and the next future. So, Brazil, growing up there, fill us in. Tell us what it was like being a young guy in Brazil.
It was amazing. It was a very unique experience on many senses, and I was very lucky because I was born, I'm 56 now, and I was born in a time that I had access to every generation of my family. And I could learn from the older ones, the first generation, to the new ones. Renzo Gracie that was coming was the guy who introduced me wrestling, boxing, judo. And then it was the first time that we had everything under one roof. And that's his ability to see how jiu-jitsu had to evolve was amazing. And I was lucky to actually live on the same building, on the same floor with him. So my mother and my father forbid me to keep bothering him. So what I would do, I would sit outside in the corridor waiting for him to come out to go teach, and I would ride with him to the academy to go learn jiu-jitsu, So it was unbelievable.
And obviously it paid off, right? I mean, and now being surrounded by, legacies, all right? Have you ever felt maybe that you weren't up for the challenge? Or did you think that, hey, I got this because it's in my blood?
It was a very funny thing because I never had a natural sports ability. I couldn't play soccer. I was a Brazilian guy who couldn't play soccer. I had no strength. I reached strength later. I was the first Gracie to actually lift weights because I decided that I should be stronger than anybody else. And I was so stubborn that I ended up becoming good on everything that I did. But and it's a funny thing because my daughter did my DNA, and she found out. She goes, "Dad, you make me even prouder." I said, "Why?" "Your DNA says that you don't have no sports ability at all." I say, "Thank God you're telling me this now. If you told me this in my childhood, it would be a mess, But I was able to conquer all of this with my stubbornness. Like we're talking about soccer. Everybody plays soccer in Brazil. I couldn't play soccer, but I could fight. I was a very good fighter since I was young.
Yes, we've seen your arrest record. Yes, you're very good at fighting.
You know, quite a few times.
I love it.
And the worst is when I get to prison, all the people that work in there have classes with me, in New York,
Oh, my God. We're going to get to that. Stay tuned.
Yes.
This guy's got a story.
Yes. Because the bouncer cannot call a woman fat in front of me.
Oh,
That's
my God.
why. So I was on the line. The moment that he said that, she was ugly and fat. That was it. We're going to close the club. That's it.
When did you decide to say, okay, I got to leave Brazil? And where did you go after that?
In reality, I never thought I would leave Brazil. I never thought I love Brazil, and I think that I could work and make that country better, I'm friends with a bunch of presidents and ministers. And
you're an ambassador.
Yeah, they made me an ambassador of tourism once I was here, but in reality, I helped Brazil a lot. I got an investment of $40 billion in Brazil, which allowed Brazil, the government of Brazil, to bring water to the whole northeast of Brazil, which they were starving there. They had no water. They need to buy trucks. So they did that. They built the bridges of Brazil with the southern countries on the border, and they are calling me now. They want to put a statue of me there. And it's a huge Arabic community too there. A lot of Lebanese people. That we have in Brazil more Lebanese than Lebanon. We have 10 million Lebanese in Brazil, but much more than actually today live in Lebanon. And they build and they increase, they made much better the connection with Brazil, with the other countries. And was with that investment that I was able to fix it,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Amazing.
Why New York?
I never thought. I lived in San Francisco for 6 months in 1985.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. When the mob of Brazil want to kill me because I beat up one of their kids in a fight.
Please tell that story.
Yeah, I was in this club with and I met this girl that I went to kindergarten with her in that city, in a small town. And she goes, "Renzo, I don't see you. I keep following you. I see everything you do. I love it. It's good to see you." So I'm there talking to her. Begin a song like, "Oh, la na na na." these guys jumping in and they start bumping into everybody and they start bumping on us. You know, I said, no, long time I don't see her. I'm not gonna shock her. I'm gonna move. So I move away. Went to the other side. They follow me.
Oh.
They came behind me and they keep bumping into me and her. And then she said, Renzo, let's get out of here. So when she pulled me out and I'm going out, he goes, good. Take this skinny gay guy out of here. I say, no. That's too much. You went overboard. And then we fought. There were 7 guys. And luckily, I had the Machados and Helion. They were on the next room. So she called them as I'm fighting the 7 guys. And then I could fight the guy alone. But this guy was the son of a very bad mob guy, you know. And I beat him up bad.
What were you using? What tactics?
Oh, I took him down, mounted, and did the job.
Ground and pound.
Yes. Yeah. You know? And then they came after me for 6 months. They were hiring killers to kill me, so I had to.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 18.
Wow.
I was 18. I was turning 18. And I live in a house that was a flat roof on top, and a tree would come over. So I would hide there with a rifle and stay there the whole night. And I could see them surrounding my house. And every time they go to climb, I would shoot next to them. And I go, I saw you already. If I see you again, the next shot's going to be in the middle of your forehead.
So you missed on purpose?
Yes, of course.
All right.
I'm a very good shooter. And then I would scare them and tell, I don't want to see you again. And this is happening all the time. So my father said, please go to America, stay there a little, I'll fix this. I say, okay, I'll be there for 6 months. If you don't fix it, I'll come back and hunt them. I'm going to go after them. And because there was certain situations that I would never sleep on the same house. So there was one time, and this is when you know there is a God. There is one time I'm in a beach in Búzios, far, in the middle of nowhere with my uncle Helion. He was the only Gracie that would stay with me. You know, he was my teacher too, and he was the only one. And his mother, don't go around him. They're going to kill him, and they're going to kill you too. Next to him, I'll die. You know, I will never leave him alone. So this is one of the best friends I have. And we're waiting for another guest that is coming. We have this big house on the beach. Suddenly, the guy arrives. His car is covered with blood, full of blood. He jumps in. He goes, Renzo. I was coming here. There was a car accident, a car crash. And these guys jump out of the car crash with machine guns and rifles. They hold me. They got in the car. They say, take us to the hospital. They got in an accident, like four guys. And as they're going, they talking to each other. They go, you know, we're not going to just kill him. We're going to torture him. This Renzo guy, and there's only one Renzo back then in Brazil, you know? It was me.
That was you.
So the guy let me know. We took off. And that's when I came to San Francisco.
Were you scared at this point?
No, man. No.
Why not?
You don't ask a lion if he's afraid of the deer who's walking around. It's just my principle. I expect never to kill nobody on this life. But you don't want to push me over because I will hunt you. You know, right. Like, yes, I'm for the right thing. I'm never against. And these people are cowards. They would do coward acts constantly. You know. And I stayed in San Francisco for 6 months. My father fixed the situation. The people that they were hiring, to kill me, they called the militia. They only killed back then drug dealers and rapists. You had to be one of those two.
But you weren't drug dealing or raping.
But they went to them and said that I was.
Man.
So that was such an insult for them, for the fact why everybody that I got them one time walking into my house. If you make a noise, I wake up. Any noise. You know, that's why I hate my friends who snore, you know. So I'm with my uncle in an apartment in Baja, and then suddenly I hear something on the door. I go. I had a 357 Python and a Browning 9mm. So I go. I hide on the. This was on the kitchen. So I go into the maid's quarter and I stay there in the dark looking, and they open the door and they come in. 3 guys holding the guns. When they go half the way, I go, stop, stop, stop. And I have a python like this. And I said, change. The guy goes, oh, we're police. I say, change guns, change hands. Get your gun, go to the left hand, put on your waist, walk backwards, and lock. And they couldn't run without me shooting them. You know, I say walk backwards and close the door.
And they complied.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, because you have to understand how the coward mind works.
Okay.
These guys, they would normally come from behind you and kill you without you seeing. They don't want to face off. So the moment that they saw me there, and I knew because I did that to them a few times before. And they say, okay, no, I said, you're not police. Walk back, close the door. And I don't want to see you guys again. Next time I see you guys, I'm going to shoot at you. So go back. So they went back and they locked. So all these guys went back and told the boss, look, this guy didn't do what people are saying. Because the way that he's behaving is not normal. And when my father finally got a hold of him, he goes, you know, every person that went after your son told me the same thing. Your son didn't do this. So I'm going to call the guy. Now he called the guy and said, look, you lied to me. If that kid dies of a cold, I will kill you and your whole family. So that kid's going to see the old age.
Right.
And then the guy stopped coming after me. He stopped. And then I was able to came back, you know.
Did this affect your relationship with your father?
No. My father was the most amazing soul. 100% support all the time. He understood me like nobody else. You know?
Go on about your pops.
The most amazing soul. Like I just got a video. He died recently, and at 88, and I got a video that someone filmed. He's saying, you know, all my sons, all my kids are amazing, but Renzo is different. You know, Renzo is special in a way that I can't explain. You know, so it was very nice. I got this recently from him. So it was amazing soul. Very only love. I only see love when I look at him. You know, and this is one of the things like people say to me, like when I was arrested by beating up a bouncer.
That's right.
I come to this club to get in, and the guy looks. A woman goes in the line, and he goes, well, "Excuse me, what are you doing on the line?" "No, I'm here with my husband to get in. Let me see your husband." "Your husband can come in. You cannot." "Why I cannot come in and my husband can?" "You are fat and ugly. You can't come in." So I was going there to have fun. When I hear this, I say, I cannot let. And there were like 8 or 9 securities. I call my guys. I call my family immediately. They couldn't come that day. We came the next day. And then I teach him a good lesson.
Now, I heard that you never hit him, though.
No, I couldn't. Just the takedown was nasty.
The takedown?
Yeah.
Right.
Because what happened, there was a bouncer there that I love the guy. The guy is a very nice guy. Always treat me very nice. And they told me that he fired him too. So when I took him down and I mounted, and he goes, "Why are you doing this?" And before, he was making fun of me because he was a boxer. So he used to say, if he fought me, he would beat me. He used to say this to everybody, you know. So when I took him down and I mount, and he grabbed me, and I started thinking, "Why are you doing this?" I say, "Because I'm Renzo Gracie. That's why." And at that moment, the security came, the bouncer came. "Renzo, why?" I say, "My brother, you working here still?" "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect your place. I'm gonna leave. You're lucky today."
Right.
I said to him, "You're lucky. You deserve a beating." So this guy sue me. You know? Yeah. We go to the court. They have a pre-hearing.
What was it? 2014?
I know. To me, everything was yesterday.
Yeah.
I live in a rhythm that I can't explain. So, yeah, he sued me. I have to look at the phone to see when was the picture. So he sues me, and I go to court. I don't lie. I tell the story the way that it is, you know. And the guy goes, his lawyer goes, because someone filmed. They have this on camera. I have it on camera when I do the takedown, you know. So it's very loud when he lands. So the guy goes, "Do you see this? This is concrete. Look the noise that he makes when he lands. It's normal to make that noise when you land." I say, "My dear friend, I never threw a bag of shit up in the air. Always makes that noise when he lands." I say, the judge look at me like that. So in the end, my insurance paid him $90,000. My umbrella insurance covered the cost. But that is a law of karma. And life is a bitch. So he made $9,000 from my wallet. Next thing you see, he invests with a Jersey guy. Forget about it.
I don't know about that. Bada bing.
$400,000. all his savings for the past 10 years, including my 90. The guy runs away to his money, disappear with his money and some other investors. So they arrest the guy, where the guy goes to jail, where I teach all the people that work at the prison. So every week I will send him a box of chocolate and a thank you letter to the guy in prison. And I told them, watch after him. He did the right thing, you know.
You started schools in New York.
Yeah.
Right.
And you asked me about how do I move to New York.
Absolutely.
So I never thought I would leave United States, to be honest. I thought it was very different from Brazil, the way that the things were seen and done, until I went to New York. The day that I went to New York, I found such a mix of cultures, such a variety. You have Arab people praying on 30th Street on the sidewalk. You have the Jews at 47.
That's right.
You have the Little Italy down
Mulberry.
North Korea on 31st. You know, like I have access to everything there. I have a Brazilian market. I have a whole Brazilian street, Little Brazil, they call it, the 46th Street. So I saw that I had such a access to everything, and I was actually in the center of the world. It was easy to go to Japan. Like I told you, I went 52 times to Japan. So it was easy to fly, directly fly, it's very cheap. It was easy to go anywhere. I said, this is paradise, you know? And then I got a very good city, which is Homedale in Jersey. They had a very good school system because I was thinking about my kids, but none of them end up being doctors, you know?
That's okay. Yeah.
They are working with me on jiu-jitsu. They like more to work with jiu-jitsu, you know?
How'd you meet your wife?
I met my wife when I was 11 years old, and her father was an FBI agent, friends with my father. And she was very close to our family, you know?
Why was an FBI agent friends with your father?
My father was a very connected guy with everybody. My father was president of the Maracanã Stadium. Okay. He was connected to the governor a lot, you know, so he had very good friends. And my father was part of when they tried to get rid of the military government, when they were running the country, you know, when there was my father fought against them. My father was the only one that was arrested and escaped alive. All his friends died. They killed everybody, you know, and he was the only one because all the coronels, all the generals, they did jiu-jitsu, you know, they knew the family and they preserve him, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But back to the wife meeting.
Tell me.
Okay.
Yeah, I met her at 11. I was 11 years old. I always make fun. I always say that we actually slept in the same room in the beach area on this house. And we used to make, like, everybody would come for the weekend, so we make the beds on the floor. So I said that she was grabbing my hand. It's bullshit. She goes, I never did that. I said, no. But I end up, as I turned 23, I saw her again, and the thing clicked, and we went. It's been 33 years, and I realized that if I had killed her when I met her, I would be free now.
Oh, my God.
Which I'm not.
You say...
It's an amazing woman. She gave me unbelievable kids, and now I have grandkids. I have 2 grandkids. And I'm offering a new car for my daughters to give me more because I need more kids running around, you know?
You say you're with your wife that you stay positive and happy, and that's part of the success of the marriage.
It's a very funny thing. It's like my head, it spins in such a velocity, you know, like such a speed. And there was a very funny moment a while back, like 3 years ago. She said, we gotta go. My son was having a little problem. She goes, we gotta go to a therapist. And I'm thinking it's about my son, right? So I go with her. And the therapist. And the therapist was Brazilian. So she begins talking, you know, how do you see your marriage? How do you, I go, honey, we are here to talk about my son. She goes, no. I'm like a marriage counselor. I say, you are what? I'm a marriage counselor. I say, what time is it? She goes, 11 o'clock. Did you have sex today? She did. You know, you have to understand one thing. She has a problem. She expects to live in a house that is the size of the closet that she has now. The closet where she keeps her clothes is bigger than the house that she dreamed to have it. Boy, doesn't matter what I do, it never will be enough. So I myself, if she kicks me out, I hope her new boyfriend is my size, because I will leave half of my clothes. I don't need all of that, I'll be gone. When I say that, my wife and the therapist begin laughing without control. I say, God damn, I told the therapist, you gotta get a better husband if you didn't have sex today. Boy, you with the wrong guy. And I said, I'm leaving, and I took off,
For the next one, James, now taking,
I haven't been
Renzo
to
Gracie.
double therapist. Leave me alone.
Oh,
No,
I love it. What got you to take the Renzo Gracie name and bring it here to Clarksville? And what's some of the things that you have for Renzo that you'd like to address here in front of everybody?
Oh, well, we'll go over a couple of things. Well, one, it was, and we kind of spoke about it before. We were a different organization. I'm quite sure we can talk about it anyway. So my jiu-jitsu career began with Gracie Baja, a different organization. Actually,
Which mine too.
What I was going to say, organization.
I'm one of the founders of the Gracie Baja.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So, needless to say, he left it first. They changed.
In reality, I not even left. It's I need to build my name. I need to do, and I have a way of seeing things. It's like people ask me, today we have around 117 academies. But you have to understand one thing. I have a criteria to get my school name on everybody. That's why I have someone like him. Because I don't want to give this to everyone. I don't want you to come, pay me, and then you have. No. I need to know that this place is running the way that it's supposed to. That will be helping everybody around. Everybody that goes in there will be welcome and be well treated.
What did you see in James that said, okay, I can give my stamp of approval?
Brian came to me and told me everything about him. Like he's one of my major guys, the guy who's developing the schools in Houston, the whole Texas area. And he spoke very highly of him. Like the way that he runs things, he's extremely smart. And I start seeing everything that he was doing. And I said, this guy can be a Renzo Gracie Academy, And it's a funny thing because I have many people that come and try to get. That's why I have only now I have 117. I hold it to 60 for a long time. And I gave more than 500 black belts already, out. I have more than 500 black belts out. And I always demand quality in order to have my name on it and attached to it,
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, James, I mean, you had options more than just Renzo Gracie. Why did you decide, Renzo Gracie's the way I'm going?
Because I'm the best looking. What are you talking about?
There you have it.
There you have it.
There you have it. No, it was easy. Like seriously, it was very easy. When you look around, the things that he's done, I've always been a fan of him and his work. When Brian called and said, "Hey, I've been talking to Renzo," I'm like, "Good. What's up?" He's like, "We're probably gonna move." I'm like, "Okay." Called me the next day. "Hey, we're moving." I'm like, "All right, let's go." Proud to be part of this legacy. Proud to work with him. And Joy and I had told him guys when I got to meet him in Texas, and same thing. And everyone felt it too when you came in. It was never, "Hey, let me fill you out." It's as soon as you see him, he grabs you, loves your family.
Absolutely.
All right? So that came over it. The things, and you can ask the team, I told them, I said, things that impressed me the most. His name is Renzo Gracie. He shares it. A lot of people don't catch that. He shares his name so that others can have. Right? We were talking about it in there.
It's a very funny thing. It's like they want to claim that you are his brother. Open a school, open this, you're my brother. But look, you're going to have to sell this, you're going to have to do this. I'm the opposite. I want you to make money. I want you to make a good living. For you to have an idea, I have in my academy maybe 15, just on the main one, 15, 17 instructors. The hour charge for a private class is $250. So anybody in there teaches 10, 15 classes a week. You know how much money I get from that?
How much?
Zero.
Why?
Because I want them, if I call them my brothers and I believe that they are good instructors, they should have been making a good living too. So I was able, because there's another thing, I'm very smart. I went to the 8th grade. I couldn't stay in school. At 16 years old, I bought a bar. I run that bar that support my family until I was 22.
Could you legally drink at that bar?
In Brazil, you can drink at any age.
Okay, that's good.
They won't bother you, but I never drink.
Right.
The first time I drink a beer that I like it, I was 36 years old. I never drink before beer. I never like it. But the funny thing, and on my bar, I didn't let nobody sell beer for kids. So it's even a funny story. Recently, I was there. The bar is still running. And we can even call the guy now. For sure, he would answer. And I go to this bar that was mine, and I go, I want to have a beer. It was during COVID. The guy goes, no, we close. I say, do you have a manager here? Call the manager. I'm going to have a beer here. The guy calls the manager. The manager comes. Renzo, it's you. I said, the guy said that there's no beer for us now. And then he goes, Renzo, for you, it's like the old times, like you used to do. Has beer for you until the sun rises, because that's when I kept the bar open. I used to sell 27 kegs of beer a night. And I used to drive to the mountains. The beer that you guys drink today called Bohemia. That beer is a Brazilian beer that was made in the mountains. It was the first artisanal beer made in Brazil. So I would go up, drive in the van. I had no driver's license. I would drive the van, fill it up with beer, bring it back. The police would be waiting for me already. I'll pull over, leave one keg of beer, one box of beer, and 50
for
bucks
the cops.
to them. Yes, for the cops. Yeah. Brother, Renzo is here. Boom, boom. And then I'll leave with the beer. And I would sell those beers there in my bar, you know? And that's the beer that you buy today. I see in America all the time, Bohemia. It was from there, you know. And my bar was the first place to have it. You had to go to the mountains to have that beer, and I had it in the city, in Rio, you know. So when this guy comes, the manager comes, he goes, it's exactly like you. And I had a stage there, and the best singers, people that sung on the Grammy, sung for me there for a beer. They would sit there, play the Caetano Veloso. Everybody would play for a beer, just to have a beer there with us and having fun, you know. You could not even walk. You had to drive the car over the opposite sidewalk to drive in front of the bar. That's how busy it was, you know. And where was I?
The bar and the beer, bringing it in, drinking it.
The guy comes over
Yeah.
and goes, for you, there's beer until the sun rises. You don't remember me? I say, no. He goes, I was that kid, 12-year-old kid that used to come here, try to buy a beer. You kick me out every time. I would kick his butt. You don't drink, kid. Get out of here. We put him out. And he said to himself, I promise one day I'll be the manager. Today he's the manager there. One day I'll be the manager of this bar. And he runs the bar today.
Full circle.
He's trying to convince me to buy again the bar back. You know?
And he's the guy that you said you could call right now. He'll answer.
Yeah, he would answer immediately, yeah.
I love it. Professor, I know you got some questions. Please ask away.
This guy doesn't talk.
I came to listen to him. Then you guys?
I love it.
I did a speech. I did a lecture at the Microsoft in New York, and there was a mediator. You know, there was a mediator sitting down, very nasty guy, very. So when I sat down, I said, "My man, you won't have to work. I'll be able to talk myself alone without problem." And I keep talking, and he tried to interfere, and I cut it, and we're going. At one moment, he goes, "You know, you talk a lot, but you don't say nothing." I say, "When you have a gold mine, you talk about everything around, but you don't show where the gold mine is. Only when I run out of gold, I'll tell you what the gold was." It was a funny thing because when I was doing the lecture, I begin saying, you see, Microsoft, we're in Microsoft. Let me explain to you. I ran a bar when I was 16 until I was 22. I could run Microsoft with my eyes closed. This is a joke. And they start laughing, you know, all the executives there, everybody there. So it was very nice. Yeah.
You know,
Now you got to talk.
injuries. All right, you guys, especially you know, you fighters out there, you all stumble, you all get an injury. What's some of the worst injuries that you have ever battled?
ACL was always the worst. Yeah, the ACL. I torn my ACL during a pride fight against Carlos Newton, and then I tore my ACL before Metamoris one day before Metamoris, with my fight with Sakuraba.
Ooh.
I torn the ACL one day before, and I fought with a torn ACL. My leg was loose, you know.
How was the result of that
It
fight?
was very good. I run him over. I
did
couldn't
right.
finish him, but I run him over. You gotta see the end picture. I'm laughing in his face, so this means I won.
Is there a fight that you have had that you wish you can go back and change, maybe some tactics?
Every fight you go back, because you have to understand one thing: fighting is what forges you to be better. My last fight was 5 years ago. I was 51, and the guy when announced my retirement, I said, "I'm sorry, but I will fight again." And if it wasn't for COVID, I would have fought already. But I probably will fight next year. I want to do one more.
Yeah?
57, yeah, of course. I don't have one gray hair. Look at this.
Oh, you look good.
Yeah, bro.
Absolutely.
And I don't dye my hair. This is the level of craziness in my head. You know? Yes.
Let's
Who,
get it.
who do you want to fight?
Anybody, they ask if I want a guy I age close to mine. I say, this is not a geriatric encounter. I want a champion. I say, get me a champion, I will do it. Yeah, I want a good guy. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your daily
But
routine?
why? You have to understand one thing. Every time you step in there, you grow so much and you increase your knowledge in such a level. You know, you want the stress, you want the pressure, you're tired. It's a completely different environment. That's why I was able to forge so many champions. You know, I was the Gracie who most fought. I was the Gracie who was build more champions. Show me other Gracie Academy who's building champions now. You don't see it. And this pisses me off because they should have been doing this job with me. You know, it's...
Why did they not?
My man, you wanna make people soft, give them a good living. The difference with me, I can sleep on this floor right here for a month and don't care.
That's right.
They don't. You know, they begin having a good living, they go do seminars. Why they gonna fight if they do seminars? If they run Europe, in a month they make 40,000 euros, and why they gonna do something else?
Complacency.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Absolutely.
You know how much I asked for my last fight? Because Chatri, the guy who owns one, was my student. And he opened the first Renzo Gracie Academy in Singapore. And when I went there, I saw, and one of my managers went with him. And when I saw how it was there, I said to him, look, his place was the size of this room here. I said, look, this is not going to be enough. Go quick and start looking for a bigger place. Because in 2 months, you won't have room here. He goes, Renzo, you crazy. Singapore is different. It's not like America. It's not like Japan. I say, my man, start looking for a place. 2 months, you're going to have a waiting list of people trying to train here.
Were you right?
He called me in 6 weeks. He goes, Renzo, it didn't take 2 months. 6 weeks, I have a waiting list here now of people that want to train, and I have no room. So he got a bigger place. Today, each school has like 1,000. He has 5 schools, and has 1,000 students on each. And the funny thing, the day that I told him that, and I said to him, which part you don't understand? You're going to become friends with the prime minister. He goes, Renzo, you out of your mind. I will never meet this guy. Who's his friend now?
The Prime Minister. That's his buddy.
I got a call 6 o'clock in the morning in a video. When I answer, his son was born. His name is Renzo, after me. You know, yeah.
That's
You
pretty
know?
cool.
He goes, Renzo, I cannot even explain how much you inspire, because I made him begin one. The first event in one, because he had so many good guys at his academy, I said, stop putting them to fight. The first one was in a basketball court with 100 people watching. There was nobody there, like a regular, and free tickets. You don't pay to get in. And there was only 100 people. That was the first event, and I went there. Today, the event that I fought, 28,000 people in the arena, 25 million people watch it live. You know?
When you fight, okay, and you have these thousands, tens of thousands, in the arena, do you hear them?
No.
Go on.
No, I don't. Only if they curse at me, then I. No, it's a funny thing. I fought in front of 75,000 people at Tokyo Dome, but once that begins, that's my word. You know, like when I fought in Japan, there was the huge fight. They broke everything. People shooting bullets everywhere. I remember, like before they say, Renzo, look, all the ghetto guys invaded the arena. They surrounded the cage. We are afraid for you.
They said this to you before the fight.
Yeah. Say, you don't need to fight. You can walk away. We pay you. Everything's done. I say, my man, just lock the gate when I get in. It's going to be just us in there. I don't care. So I went in. I got cut. Someone cut me with a knife on the cage. And there was one guy that kept hitting me the whole time. Every time I touched the cage, he would hit me.
Wow.
And every time he hit me, I go, my mother used to hit me harder than that. And I tell him that, all the time. I say, you hit like a girl, And girl, not Ronda Rousey.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I keep making fun of him until they break us. And when the guys on the other side, they break us apart. And this guy comes in, he's talking. It's the guy who's hitting me. So I look at the guy there, and I broke his nose, on the cage too. And then the fight broke up, like it was everybody fighting, like 400 people fighting at the same time.
Your philosophy of no fear and your faith, how does that connect?
Man, I don't know. My sister says I'm crazy,
She's right.
Yeah, it's different. I'm different. Mm-hmm. I was in Hawaii. My daughter took me to swim with sharks. Boy, I get there, I ask, where's the cage? How do we? No, it's like this. I say, we're going to jump in there. I say, you go first. I tell the guy the boat. I say, you go first. If he goes in, I go in. No problem. The guy jumps, I jump right after. Then after my daughter comes. There was 32 sharks in the water. There was one big shark that keeps coming close to my daughter. All the time he would come close, because my daughter, I think, was the smallest of the group. He would come close to her all the time. I change her side. And then he would go around, I change her side. I start getting pissed. I go after and I grab him by the tail. Then the shark didn't get close to us anymore. Stay away. But when I grabbed the shark, the guy freaked out. The guy, you out of your mind? They're gonna attack us. They're gonna come after us if you do this. I say, my man, where I come from, I call this sushi. Don't come close to my daughter because And I have the video here. I'll show you after. It's very interesting.
When it comes
situation.
to movies, okay, and media and cinema out there, what are some fighting movies that you watched and you go, yeah, that's pretty good?
I love every fighting movie. I love the Rockies. The whole sequence of Rocky was
greatest love story of all time.
The best. Unbelievable. Recently, I saw a movie called Born a Champion.
Okay.
I'm in it. The guy actually, Sean Patrick Flannery. Yeah, he has a Renzo Gracie Academy too. He teaches there with the guys.
And it's called Born a Champion.
Yeah. Born a Champion.
Okay.
This movie, if you do jiu-jitsu, you have to see it. And he asked me to go there just to do one scene. So I went there on the set, and they fixed my hair. Look like everything nice. Like I never look. And he's a fighter. He's doing his main fight against the Brazilian guy, Edson Barbosa. He's on the movie too. And when I come in, the arena, he's getting ready to fight. He stops everything and thanks my presence there, So I go say hi to him. He goes, Master Renzo here. And on the end, he makes, this is a letter of love to Jiu-Jitsu. I'm trying to give back everything Jiu-Jitsu gave me.
Wow.
So it was unbelievable. And you see the jokes. It's very Brazilian, the way that he runs the whole.
Where can we watch
movie.
this movie?
Netflix.
Okay.
Netflix. Yeah. It's
All right.
very good, very, very good. And he's an amazing soul. I watch him in Powder. I watch him as the young Indiana Jones. There was one very famous that he did. Boondock
Yes,
Saints.
yeah.
Yes. That's him. Yeah, that's him. Amazing. And now he's in Texas teaching jiu-jitsu too.
That's what's up.
His kids, everybody. I was there with them. I had a great time.
James, tomorrow you guys got a big event going on also, right?
Oh, yeah. So a lot of these guys will be there. We'll be having a seminar with Master Renzo. He'll be showing us some techniques and going over some information and, presenting some stuff to some worthy people. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, one thing I did want to talk to you about. So he kind of asked a question, but we didn't kind of get there. So That's San Francisco.
He still didn't say nothing.
He will. He will. See, it's coming. This is where we segue into it. So where were you teaching in New York? And how did your school come about? How did you get the jiu-jitsu going there?
It's after I did a fight at the World Combat, I made 150,000. I fought 3 times in one night. So I got that money and I moved to New York. I opened a gym in partnership with a guy. And I used to teach 7 days a week. So he was teaching there in a very small place before. And once we opened the school and I started teaching every day, he went from 60 people a week to 280 a week. Yeah, you know. So we had such an amazing numbers. And that's a very funny thing when I tell you that I'm smart. I charge now less than I used to charge back then. So we're talking about 96 to 2023.
Damn.
And now I make more money by doing that. And the funny thing, it's I have an increase of rent in 3% every year. So we're talking about, 27 years.
And the rent in New York
Everything. It's
is
insane.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. And my partner wasn't a very fair guy, People, a lot of times when you trust them, they misunderstand. They think you're dumb. So I let him take care of all the financial, everything. And my only worry was to train, to fight, to prepare fighters, to teach the students, to run the academy,
Did he take advantage?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naive. In reality, no. Why? I would be carrying him until today.
Yeah. But that's over now. Right?
So I had to walk away. I ended up walking away, and it's a very funny thing, because he came. He goes, "No, I'm gonna call the immigration and have you deported."
Oh.
I go. I applied for my green card Tuesday. I got on Thursday. In 2 days, I had my green card. I say, "We are disconnected. We're not partners." And he goes, "It doesn't matter. I'm gonna find a way to get you out this country." I say, "Let me be honest. My lawyer wants to take your house. I have every document. I have everything recorded, every phone call recorded. I have every document, and I have all the proofs. But I love your kids. I won't let my lawyer take your house because your kids need a home. That's the only reason. Go do your things. Go. You were dumb. Go do your things, and I'm going to take 15 days vacation, then I'm going to do what I have to do." And it's a funny thing because I used to drive back and forth with him a lot. And he used to pass by this town and say, "One day, I'm going to have a mansion here. My house will be here. One day." He would say that every time he passed by there.
What town was this?
The town that I have a fucking mansion.
That's right. In Jersey.
Well, I have the biggest and the nicest house in the whole town. And I still would sleep with the dog. I don't care. Sometimes I wake up there, where am I?
Rumor has it, and this is verified by 4 sources, that you're looking to move to Clarksville, Tennessee.
I have to be honest. I love this place here.
Tell you, come on down, brother.
Today, I almost didn't make it to the academy. I drove everywhere around here. I saw everything.
It's great. I
love it.
We just had a rough week here.
Yeah, he was telling me
natural
about
disasters
the tornado,
coming.
right?
Right, absolutely. Big one, 2 big ones came through.
Wow.
But here it is. I mean, your discipline, okay? Your routine on a regular basis. Fill us in. You wake up, what do you do?
I normally wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. I sleep 4 hours and a half, maximum 5 hours.
You don't need more sleep than that?
No, and I function very good.
We
Normally,
see that.
I go read. I have a library at home. So every book that I read, I put in these bookshelves there. My wife forbade me to buy more books. There's too many books in the house, no more. So I found out a way that I hide one book behind the other like this. So I'm being able to double the numbers of books without her knowing, And she goes to me, "And you know something? You don't read much anymore." I go, "Maybe you sleepy when I'm reading?" Because I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. So I read normally for an hour.
What are you reading?
Everything. Lately, I read some of those Khalil Gibran, which is one of the biggest philosophers of the Arabic world. Is a very good writing. He's the one that has the poem about kids that the kids don't belong to us. The kids belong to the future. You heard that, right?
Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Right.
Whitney Houston, she said that,
Yes,
yeah?
I think so.
God damn, she copied him. She brings the back. Like, basically, your kids are arrows that you put, and you are the ball who's going to shoot them towards the horizon and pray for them to hit the target, you know? So this is, I read a lot of things about him. And there was another one that I'm forgotten his name now, but he wrote Blink. He's in New York. Blink, The Outliers.
And are these like how-to books, or are these
No, this is
self-improvement?
very good books. This I read. I read everything he wrote, and I just finished the one of the last ones recently. But this Outliers is amazing. Blink is about how when you become a specialist in something, you can lay your eyes and you know the whole situation. It's an amazing, and they have this statue that they believe belonged to this very famous artist, and nobody could prove otherwise. One day they bring this guy. When he opens the door, he looks, he goes, it's fake. And he not even came closer to analyze. He looked, and the guy, why is fake? I don't know, it's fake. And they went to study to see it was fake.
It was fake.
Yeah.
I
You
love
know?
that you're reading. That's something that I think, especially I'm going to try and say.
Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell.
That's the author.
Yes.
Okay. Because the youths are the two youths.
The youths.
They're not reading anymore.
Yeah, it's because today they have a phone
It's all on the phone.
and everything's fast. Anything
Right.
that lasts more than a minute bothers them. I'm the opposite.
But
I
does
read-
reading work out the brain?
For you to have an idea, one of the favorite books that I read was Sherlock Holmes, and I read for the first time in Portuguese in Brazil when I was a kid. I read the whole series, and then I read when I got here because I already knew the story. I read in English so I could improve my English, because Sherlock Holmes is not only a good story book, but the quality of the writing is very good. So I read when I got here. I read that. When I began teaching jiu-jitsu to Guy Ritchie, his dream was to make the movie Sherlock Holmes. You know why? When he was in a, you know those schools that you sleep on? I forgot. Boarding school, no?
That's right.
Boarding schools. He was in a boarding school growing up. Every night before they slept, the principal would read for them a chapter of Sherlock Holmes. You know, and back then he would say, one day I'm gonna make this movie. And he did the Sherlock Holmes. You know?
He was involved with the movie that you were in, right?
Huh?
Guy Ritchie, right? You got a chance to meet Guy Ritchie? Is that accurate?
I gave him the black belt. I had to put up with him 10 years.
I love it.
I met him. I choked him so many times that I forgot. You know? And it's a funny thing because he left New York when he was getting ready to get the black belt. So he moved back to England, and I stayed a long time without getting in contact with him. But I call it, and he was training every day. He would train any movie set. He would have mats, and he would train with everybody there. And he told me when I gave him the black belt was during the red carpet of Man from U.N.C.L.E. It was released in New York. So he came, he was wearing a white suit with a black tie. I walk in with a black belt and I hit him. I tighten up. He stayed the whole night with a black belt.
That's awesome.
And a suit, yeah.
Man.
Yeah. And that day I met Henry Cavill, the Superman, with him there because he was in the movie, yeah. Yeah. Good looking guy, very special soul. So he buys a house in Weston,
Okay.
in Miami, near Miami, Florida. So he find out there's a Renzo Gracie Academy there in Weston. So he calls them and say, look, I train with Renzo Gracie. It's okay if I come and help teach the kids class. Oh, you train with Renzo? Of course, come. Help teach the class. He shows up dressed as a Superman.
I love it.
So imagine this for the kids, you
Right.
know? Unbelievable. So this is how lucky I am, you know, the way that I push my life forward. This happens all the time with me, you know, all the time. It's insane.
What do? You wake up, any push-ups, any sit-ups? What's part of that routine?
No. Or I train like a nut job. When I was training for the fight, I was running 7 miles every day when I woke up. Winter, summer, anytime, I would get up and leave my house running. The first 12 minutes was up the hill. Then I would go around the whole thing and then get home. And then from there I begin. Then lift weights, go train jiu-jitsu, everything else.
But running is a necessity.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Help me.
James is shaking his head no.
Yeah. Most people don't like it. I love it because when I run, I'm able to think about many things.
That's right.
Yeah, I review many things in my head, and it helps me always.
I follow you, and many follow you on social media, especially your Instagram. You get censored a lot, though.
Yes.
Well,
Freedom of speech nowadays is difficult, But Zuckerberg is training jiu-jitsu. He's better be careful.
oh, that's right.
I may go roll with him a little bit. No, but in reality, it's you can't talk bad about certain things that they support. That's what it is,
It's a shame.
Yeah, and I came to this country, and this is a great country, man. People, I've been everywhere in the world. What we have here is very special, and they shouldn't break this. They shouldn't do what they were doing. So I have to talk against that. It's my obligation. This country received me with such a love, with such a respect, gave me so much. I remember. Do you want to know how great this country is? When I'm the champion, I'm winning fights overseas, I'm doing everything, I'm putting money together, a lot of students. When I finally buy my house, I pay $400,000 in my house, I get a loan, I'm very happy, very confident. I have a nanny working for me. Her husband comes to pick her up. You know what he does? He paints houses. The same week, he bought a $600,000 house. So I go, this is a great country. 50% more than I could afford back then. Yeah. Insane. I said, this country gives opportunity to anybody who goes after and works hard. So I have to talk when they try to destroy this. I have to talk against, I can't hold back. And then they block me, they do.
Yeah, I saw.
You try to mark me on it, they go, this guy keeps posting lies.
Yep. Keep speaking the truth.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah. So since we talked about entrepreneurship and all these opportunities, I want the opportunity for you to share it with them, some of the things you have done, some things you've accomplished, and some of the things you're working on right now.
I'm going to be very rich. It's because money is the result of good work. It's especially on this country here, And I was able to put things together that I know it's going to be beyond understanding, And I think everything came because the way that I am. Remember when I got the $40 billion loan to Brazil to build everything? You know how much money I got?
How much?
0. I refused to be paid for that. The sheik who set up everything, who's like a brother to me, he goes, Renzo, did they pay you well? Huh? Did you understand what you did for them? I say, if I took a dime from this, I will be like every corrupt soul who runs my country now.
Right.
So I cannot do that. I will be everything that I despise my whole life if I take a dime from this. I want to see that money on health, on helping kids grow, and health, education, everything else. I can't take a dime from this. And the sheik look at me and goes, you are different. And I say, if I need money, I will ask you. Would you deny me some money? He goes, no, I'll give you anything you need. I said, that's it. I don't need nothing. I'm good.
You donate a lot, too. I know you don't talk about it much, but
we help a lot.
If you could maybe share with some of where you do donate towards and who
I help
you
a lot of people. I made that shirt Foda-se. That shirt generate, which is fuck it mindset. That's and Foda-se with Y in the end. In Portuguese, it can get by. It's not an insult. It's not the full word. And I sold 10,000 T-shirts. So the profit was over 300,000. And I use every dime for charity in Brazil, helping people. There is even one SOB who was crippled, couldn't walk. And now he's running.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. I pay his rent, I pay all his therapies, everything, all his fixing, and he's cured, you know? And was a good friend of mine. The first fight I had in America, he paid my electrical bills back then because I didn't have money. They postponed it for 6 months. For 6 months, I was broke. I couldn't teach. I was training to fight. And he paid my electrical bills, my gas, my telephone, you know, and got back with good profit, the prick, you know.
Damn right.
But I love him. I can't help it.
Before we...
And it's a very funny thing because I sent the best doctor, I know him from Jiu-Jitsu, Nehemiah, to do the surgery on him there on the hospital. So he went. He calls me back right after. He goes, Renzo, this guy will never walk again. And then I go, did you tell him that? He goes, no, he's still sleeping. I say, don't tell him that. You're going to tell him that it's going to take him a while. But if he follows the exercises, everything he does, and treatments, he'll take a little bit, but he'll be fine. He'll be 100%. Renzo, I'm going to lie to him. Yes, you're going to lie to him. You're going to tell him that he will walk. It took 5 years. Now he's walking everywhere, running everywhere. You know, and there's a very funny... He was always down. One of the calls, he sends me a video. It's him on a wheelchair, and this guy comes, picks him up, you know, and it's the first steps that he's doing. So the guy holds his butt, and he goes walking, suffering a lot. He filmed that and sent me. He goes, look at this. I will never walk. I will never be able to walk.
Did you get emotional?
Huh?
Did you get emotional?
Never. I go, my brother, let's be honest. It's the first time that I see a man grabbing your butt for this long and you don't complain. I took the attention out of there right away, you know. I said, I can't believe you let a guy grab your butt for that long. Yeah. I was just talking to them there. I got a phone call from a jiu-jitsu guy who's blind in Brazil. And I always help him a lot down there, you know. I'm trying to put a school for him in his neighborhood so he can teach. And me and him, we always making fun of each other, you know. And since I met him, he's a very good jiu-jitsu, and he normally does charity work, you know, teaching. And he's completely blind. So he comes to have dinner. I take him to have dinner with Kira, with her husband, who's a very famous, was the equivalent of Brad Pitt here, you know. So I take him to have dinner with them, and we eating. And then he goes, Renzo, can you take me to the bathroom? I say, of course, man. So he holds my arm. We go walk into the bathroom. As we go and walk to the bathroom, the waiter looks at us, holding hands like this, you know. He looks twice. I go, no, it's not what you're thinking. I say to him, right? The blind guys. He's the passive on the relationship.
Oh, no. Oh,
I almost headbutt him. I said, I'm not taking you to the bathroom. You better find your way. So it's an amazing. So he just called us here, you know. And he goes to me, Renzo, please send me some videos of half guard. I say, how are you going to see the videos?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I believe you're lying to me. You can see and you are lying. Well, I go to get him at his house. He lives next to a church. So a lot of religious people coming in and out. So I come over and I say, my man, I'm starting to get suspicious of you. Every girl that passes here with a tight dress, you look at the butt. He goes, it's better than looking at your face.
You got so many different martial arts out there, okay? And you know, mixed martial arts, UFC, you see the combination of it all. Besides, you know, jiu-jitsu, what are some of the other arts out there? You know, wrestling, karate?
Brother, everything is great. Knowledge is never enough. This is the thing. Like when I was growing up, nobody trained no gi. Me, every day, doesn't matter what, I would train the gi, do my whole training. I finish, I take the gi off, and would ask someone to train with me in no gi. Every day. Because I taught every aspect of fighting and learning and knowledge. I'm a black belt in judo too. You know, I train Muay Thai a lot, boxing a lot. And I always thought it was very, very important, you know. I learned wrestling a lot. They put me to teach wrestling on the nationals, for the high school nationals. I went there to teach wrestling, you know, to the adaptations that I made from jiu-jitsu to wrestling to help the kids. And one kid got the gold medal with the moves that I showed him, you know. He came to say thank you after. Very interesting, yeah. So I think knowledge is never enough. You know, people try to make, oh, this martial art is better than this. My brother, embrace what you love. Try to learn to be better. Makes those around you better. You know, you can't fail. You cannot fail.
Before we go to the crowd with their questions, James, you got anything before we go to the people?
You want to know what investments I made? You see, you don't talk about the gold mine. Only after the gold is gone.
No, I don't want you to tell them about the gold mine. I just we have some people out here so you can explain your leadership and some of the different things that you think about and how it translates into jiu-jitsu.
It's like I was telling you before. If you have a Renzo Gracie Academy and you're not doing well, that bothers me. I want you to do better than me. You know, it's a very funny thing. People come to me all the time. Oh, Joe Donaher left you. What's going on? What? I say, I don't raise my kids to stay next to me. Again, they belong to the future. They are the arrow that I'm going to shoot forward.
That's right.
So I want them to succeed, to experience, to try, to see. I don't want you next to me for the rest of your life. I want you to grow up and be better than me because I prepare you for that, you know? It's a very funny thing. Like a guy came to me and said, Renzo, I can't accept that. I say, what? They named this move after me. After you, after me. And in reality, you taught me this move. I say, my brother, a real teacher is the one that has his students with moves named after them. So, Joe Darcy, I hope you form students the same way that I did. He didn't. The prick now is a cop. He's working. Should have been teaching jiu-jitsu and, you know.
Forget about it.
Yeah, and that's the Darcy choke. I taught him. He did it. Yeah. Joe Darcy, amazing soul. He began training with me when he was 16. Yeah. You know?
Professor, you got anything?
No, I mean,
Finally,
I
you
would
say something.
Well, let's be square. Like, all you came here to listen to Renzo, so did I. Like, what a wonderful experience listening to his stories. More importantly, you know, when I come to these things, especially when I get to learn from a legend and someone who I consider a pioneer, especially for jiu-jitsu here.
He just called me old.
No such
In a very
thing.
nice way. You see?
No such thing. More than anything, I wanted to hear who you are. What do you stand for? And what I found out is that you and I have a lot in common. You know, you're not afraid to speak your mind. You live for the community. You said you sleep on this floor. Me too. Like I don't find much attachment to money, and I believe the same way you do. Like my goal is to hopefully build more students and people that pass on jiu-jitsu. I'm absolutely in the right place, and you've confirmed that for me today. Thank you very
Well
much,
said.
brother.
Well said.
I got a tattoo.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, so this is your question right here, right? This was yours or hers? All right, so his question is, out of all the Gracie members in your family, who inspired and mentored you and motivated you the most to succeed in jiu-jitsu?
The biggest inspiration I had was my Uncle Hollis, the one that I told you that I live across on the corridor with him. The guy there was nobody like him. And I was lucky that I grew up learning from him. I began training with him when I was 5. Then when my father got arrested by the military, we moved to a smaller town. I stayed there until I was 10. And then I moved back. That's when I started living across with him on the same floor. And his ability to see things, to develop, to work, to accept knowledge was exactly what inspired me to be who I am today. You know, like I couldn't settle for little because of him. And he died in a hang gliding accident when he was 33. 33 years old, he died, yeah, on his prime. You know, and he had a whole project of build a school in Ipanema. He's gonna have this, he's gonna have the laundry, he's gonna have you just leave your gear at the academy, would wash, and this is exactly what I have in New York. In reality, it was everything that he told me that was his dream, I built it. You know, and his kids, I brought them to America, they stay with me, they now, each one has 2-3 schools, you know, and they do very well, they have amazing kids now too, you know. So it's unique. I was able to take care of them and the same way that he took care of me when I was young.
Awesome. That was awesome. Great question. All right, so next question is, and this I like this one. So it says, looking back on your white belt days, what was the hardest and most difficult part of your time?
I don't remember my white belt. I remember my yellow belt. Man, it's a funny thing because I never won a belt. I stayed 7 years in a purple belt, and I always thought that I should have been better before I moved, before I changed. And they actually forced me to change belts. They say, if you don't, they told Carlinhos, my teacher, they go, if you don't change his belt, we're not going to put nobody to fight him anymore. And back then I was fighting my weight and absolute and winning everything on purple belt, And the biggest competition was called Atlântico Sul. I was the only one who fought 7 years in a row and won all of them. Nobody ever fought all of them. I did it. And that was the same as the world competition back then. That was the biggest competition, And they say, if you don't pass him, we're not going to put nobody to fight him. So they gave me the brown belt. When I got the brown belt, they had something new. There was the mix of black and brown together, competing on the same division. So I go on the first competition. I win 3 fights in a row from 3 black belts. I finished them in less than a minute. Second competition, same thing again, brown and black together. I have a very high fever. I'm laying down there, almost dead, with cold or flu or something. I go in, I finish everybody in 1 minute. I remember Romero Jacaré, the founder of Alliance, screaming, all you have to do is stall because he's sick. He's going to get tired. 1 minute, hold for a minute. The guy tapped in 1 minute, And then I stay in brown belt for 6 months. 6 months, I got the black belt, and that was the first nationals, 1993. They had the first nationals, the first national competition. And I fought De La Riva. De La Riva had beat many Gracies before on the jiu-jitsu. He was Carson's student. And my first competition was against him, and I beat him, And I remember because they were making fun, I was always I was good, but I was not like them. They believe I was always, so they keep making fun of me before the fight. They keep making fun of me the whole time, the crowd, everybody around. So when the fight began and we're going, I went and I scored the points. And then my uncle goes, 3 minutes and a half. Let's do it. I look at him and I say, 3 minutes and a half, I'll be the first national champion on this weight division. But don't worry, you're second place. And then he went nuts. I go, but thinking again, second place is the first loser. So it.
That's right.
So I keep making fun of him the whole time. And making fun, and I look at the crowd and say, what is this? Like to the crowd that was making fun of me. And then he finished, I'm celebrating, That was my first black belt competition. Then I won again 94 nationals, and then I went to MMA in 95. And that's when I began.
So, Master Renzo, when you're thinking of promoting someone to black belt, other than their knowledge and mat time, what's something that's really important to you when you're considering a black belt?
Each situation is different. I had one student who had some mental issues, mental problems. It took him 22 years to get the black belt. And I remember the first time he walked into the academy, and I said to him, I was teaching the class already, I said to him, just go on the corner and stretch a little, and I will get you. So he goes in the corner, starts stretching there. Suddenly, he screams, ah! I look. He had a problem that he takes long to feel pain. So he put his arm back, he didn't know how to stretch. He slid his butt forward, he broke the shoulder. He broke his own shoulder just stretching. So I grabbed him, I spent the whole night with the guy on the hospital until he's fixed, And I say, he probably will never come back. He came back 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, he was back. So he stayed with me for this whole time. During this period, his parents, very wealthy parents, they own buildings in the city, and they went against him doing jiu-jitsu. This is violence. We don't want you doing this. So they cut the money for him. I said, don't worry, man. You don't pay. Here, it's your house. You train. I want you here. The kid stayed there with us for this whole time, 20-some years. And there's a very funny thing. because I'm in class, and I have one guy who's a psychologist. He works in high schools there in Manhattan, in Brooklyn. And he goes, Renzo, you have to understand, America is different from Brazil. Someone bullies a kid, start making fun of a kid. Nobody else gets in. In Brazil, I said, no, in Brazil, you make fun of a kid, I get up and I hit the guy. There was a guy in school back then, he started making fun of the kid's sister, that she had Down syndrome. So this guy, back then, was a public school. This guy was twice my size. He was probably 3 years older than me, and I was a kid. When he made fun of his sister, I just stood up like nothing, and I hit him right in the face. That whole mess inside the classroom, and I say, every time you speak like this about his family or him, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to be waiting for you outside. I say, I see you outside. I go outside that day, I get my ass kicked. He was much bigger. He beat the crap out of me. We fought. Next day I come in, he's laughing. I go here, I fix my chair, hit him in the face again. And I go, we're waiting for you outside. We fight outside again, he beats me again outside. The next day I come, he gets up and moves. Doesn't let me get close anymore. I say, you get close to the kids, you bother them, it doesn't matter, I'm going to find a way to get you. So it stopped. He never bothered the kids again, you know. And then when I was 16, I met him again. It was very nice.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Put him to sleep, of course. Paid
All right.
back.
So here on this table we have 3 questions. The first one is, did you have a choice of whether to train jiu-jitsu as a child, or was it mandatory? And at what point do you feel like you were training for yourself and not family?
In reality, this is the beauty. Nobody ever asked me to train. But you have to understand, my father would play with me like we were fighting all the time at home. So even though I began training at 5, at 3, I knew how to get the back. I knew how to hold. I knew how to do an arm lock. And all through my father making fun and playing and joking. And to me, it was always a pleasure to be there, you know, but nobody ever asked me to represent, to do jiu-jitsu. There's many Gracies who don't train, you know, because nobody forces you, nobody pushes you. I'm the most annoying guy because it's such a good living. It's such an amazing tool to open doors, to bring friends, you don't understand. It's like, imagine I go to Brazil, I go straight to the Brazilian White House, I say, is the president home? The guy goes, yes. Can you tell him Renzo is here? The guy goes, do you have an appointment? I said, no, just tell him Renzo is here. I'm sorry, is this a joke? I said, my man, I left New York to come here. This is not a joke. And I already saw your name. I'm going to write a book about this. You delay me maybe 1 or 2 days. But I'm going to be with him. So go tell him I'm here. He went in, came back with a credential to come in. You know, the president wants to see you, you know. He grew up on the same place that I grew up, the same town, you know.
Next question is, what was the deciding factor for you to start your own academy away from Gracie Barra?
I was always an entrepreneur. I always liked to work. Like at 11, I had a shoebox. I convinced the guy to make a shoebox. I would shine shoes, you know, because I need to make money. My father and my mother wouldn't give me money for candies. My family, the Gracie family, no candies. I said, let me work. I buy my candy and I don't care. So I start shining shoes. Then they told me that I couldn't go to the Port Authority where the buses were because there was many kids there working. They would give me a hard time. So I saw that the biggest amount of people was there, so I went. So they got together, they beat me up, and they took my box, you know? So for every day, I would get my grandparents' binoculars. I would go in a bridge that was there. I look, and I wait for one of the kids to leave, one of those that beat me up. When the kid left, I would go there, beat him up, take the box, and put it in my house. So I had like 11 boxes in my house already. Yes. And then I went there and I negotiate with them. I said, look, You guys did this. This was wrong. I have all the boxes. From now on, you guys gonna pay me rent. I will keep the boxes here because they had to walk home with those boxes. And my house was near the Port Authority. So I said, you leave it there. I will rent. You pay me a rent. And I keep it for you always there. And I remember my grandmother walk, Renzo helps everybody. Look, 27 boxes in my house. And the kids knock there, get the box, and go and pay me a rent every week, you know. So I didn't need to shine boxes to buy my candies anymore, you know.
I guess that means they was messing with his shoebox, and he wasn't having it anymore. That answer the question? So next question is, if you could not train or teach jujitsu, what would you be doing?
Man, everything I do with passion. You know, like I told you, I run a bar, I love it, and I could run that. I made it in a way that today the whole street are bars because of my bar. It became the most traditional place in Baja where I grew up, you know? And it's exactly where I like you guys probably watch City of God. You know, I knew all those guys. We went to school together. I was in a public school. All those guys the real guys were there, and we became friends. You know, so they were the drug dealers. So I forbid the use or sale of drugs from that street to where I surf on Quebra-Mar. So nobody would sell drugs there or would use drugs there. You know, was because of the kids. I wanna. Every this is on the book. The guy published a book in Brazil telling the story, and back then was a very desert location, you know, so a lot of perverts would come, park the car, and keep looking at the women on the beach and you know, behaving in a strange way. So my mother was on the beach, and my mother was a beautiful woman. My aunts, my sisters, so I had to clean that. So I had one friend who back then there was no sewage there. He run one of those sewage trucks that sucks, you know. So I would call him and say, I need one truck. I need one truck full.
Oh, no.
And then he'll go like this, commercial or residential? Commercial was fat, like it was a layer of fat like this size. So I said, commercial, please. So it was me, Ralph, and Ryan. We would come from behind the car like this, and because it was hot, they keep the windows open. Suddenly, I jump in, I take the key. And normally, the guy had the pants on his knees.
Oh, no.
I pop the key out. Ralph and Daniel, the guys would come straight with the hose, 15 seconds, all the way to the window. So after a couple months of that, never a pervert came on the whole location there. You know?
Word spread.
I know. It's quick.
Nobody wants to go to the beach.
And there was no internet back then.
No,
It was so funny because every time I got in trouble, I end up in the police station. When I walk in, the sheriff will go, me and the guy already complaining, oh, he hit me, he did this. Renzo, what did he do? And then I say, he did this. Someone drives Renzo home, you go sit down there and think about what you're doing. I say, have a good day. Boom, you know, leave, you know. During COVID now, you couldn't stay on the beach, you know. But I went there, they made a party for me at the beach, a barbecue, 200 people there. So the police will come all the time. They will come, look, oh, it's for Renzo. They leave. And nobody could stay at the beach. They let us stay there the whole afternoon, you know.
Damn right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, got another question from this table. It says, where do you think jiu-jitsu would be today if Halls was still alive?
Man, I honestly, because Hollis was the link. Hollis was a son of my grandfather who was raised by my granduncle, by Helio. Because he had a son outside his wedding, and then his brother raised the kid. So he was the link between both families, and he was the champion. Like, he would run over everybody, and he was very technical, very smart, very dedicated, very passionate about jiu-jitsu, you know. And I really thought that the others should have followed him with the same goals, with the same, you know, but they didn't. And
why?
what I learned from him, Man, it's not easy.
Okay.
The reality, it's like why you have only one champion. You know? Again, the second place is the first loser. The reality is people would get comfortable. And I don't know what comfortable is. I don't know, you know? That's the reality. I do everything I can rest, you know? It's different. And I did that because I learned from him. He was like this, you know? So every dream he had and how to build, how to make the family better, I tried to give. I gave to everyone. You know, I had at one point 4 family members living in my house. I have right now 1. And then I have the Aussie kid who I used to go to Australia to teach his father. Now the kid comes and stay 4 years with me. 4 years with me living there. You know, it's different. But the reason why I get this kid there and I'm very happy, it's because back then I went to Australia with Carlinhos. Me and him, we stayed there for a month. The kid was 3 years old. He would come and pee on Carlinhos' clothes, on his bag. His bag was open. He would go and pee, and mine was right next. But I always bring a candy to the kid, so he would only pee on Carlinhos. You know? I say, I love this kid, so he always come. He stay with us. The other day, he remember I used to pee on Uncle Carlinhos? I say, yes.
That's good. This is actually a good question. This says, would you say you had more or less bullying growing up because of your last name?
It's a funny thing, but my last name, even though it was famous at a certain level, wasn't famous everywhere. Like, you have to understand, the academies were small. The competitions maybe once a year. So you don't have exposition. My grandfather fought with the guy from the major TV channel, Global. They had a problem. So they would never let us show jiu-jitsu so jiu-jitsu really had to struggle, you know, and became a sport because it had to be expensive. It became a sport of the most wealthy people, you know. So it wasn't big gyms that you go to the gym. There's 4 people training on the mat, 5 people training on the mat. You know, I remember I used to go to the academy and wait for people to train because you had only 10, 12 people to train with, you know.
Right. Makes sense. All right, this is about the fights tomorrow. You got Colby Covington versus Edwards. Who do you think is going to win that one? First part of the question. Second part of the question is, would you fight either one of them?
Boy, with the outside here now. You're joking.
Dude, that was Muhammad. That was Muhammad. I'm just telling you. So for tomorrow, it was him.
Before I went to Abu Dhabi this last time, I had to go sign some autographs, and was a WWE fair with UFC guys. You know who was there? Mark Coleman. Well, Mark Coleman was there signing autographs. So Mark Coleman looked at me, he goes, Renzo, remember that time? I say, which one? He goes, the first time I saw you, you walked straight at me. You just finished fighting 3 times. You walk straight at me and goes, oh, I heard you walk in with a sign saying 3 Gracies in one night. Let's begin with me. Let's go outside on the parking lot. We solve this. We come back, have a beer together. He goes, you're crazy. I won't fight only for money, professional. I don't fight like this. I said, let's go outside, man. Don't make a scandal. Come. He goes, that skinny lunatic calling me to go outside to fight and come back. I say, but I have a story to tell. Come on. He didn't come. He didn't. Okay. You know how many times I tuck him in bed?
4?
3.
Okay.
Boy, I'm in Japan. When I go out to have dinner with the guys, normally there we go out 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. When I get there, he's drunk out in the bar. I go, shit. The guy goes, how's your friend? I said, don't worry. I get him. I take him home, put him in bed in the hotel, tuck him in, go back to the thing. So I said to him, do you remember how many times I tuck you in bed? He goes, 1. I said, you'd not even remember the other 2. And the other he goes, no.
Sounds like Vegas.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
What? I was there. It's what you owe. That's the first time you ever lied, Jasper. That's funny. So, yeah, exactly. What do you have to say two people actually who do not like to compete, what would you?
I honestly, there's people I know, very good people who never compete. They don't like my academy has a lot, and I've seen people arrive there and they go, "Oh, I'm gonna train with the older guy there, warm up with him." They go in, they get their ass kicked. It's insane. But some people are not comfortable with. I love competition because it's a moment of stress. You giving everything. You have the guy against you. You have the crowd looking. You deal with a situation that is completely different from rolling at the academy, without nobody seeing, without you worrying about getting better. Over there, you're going to get better. There was a very, very, very funny situation that happened once. I'm having this guy, one of my students, high-end students, Fabio Leopoldo from California, fighting Pat Miletich guy, one of the top American wrestlers. And the guy was giving him hell. Porra. Fabio's giving everything. He couldn't get the guy a mess. Last round on IFL. They ring a belt. When it's 10 seconds, they do toom, they do a noise so everybody out. When the thing hit, I jump. Back then it was a ring. I jump, I grab his butt, and I push it up. When I push it up, he stood up, went, finished the guy, won the fight. I get in, I get up, I lift him, and then he goes like this. Man, I only won this fight because you pushed me up. I couldn't get up. How did you know what you do? I say, my brother, I was there 10 years ago, and there was nobody to push my butt up. I had to get up, and I saw you on the same situation. So when I did this, he went and won the fight. So it's experience. It's under stress in a level that you get tired in a way that you never get tired training. It's because the intensity is different. Everything is different.
I know about tired.
One thing for sure, you come out of there, you are 10 times better human being, a better soul. It's fighting. How did I say?
Fighting
is everything that a man should have in his soul. You didn't watch 60 Minutes. What's wrong with you?
It's on the gi too.
Fighting is the best thing a man can have in his soul. I said that on the 60 Minutes. And that, by the way, was the most watched 60 Minutes in 25 years.
It's a good episode.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. This question says, more men tend to do martial arts. How can we inspire more women to train jiu-jitsu or martial arts, period?
Thank God women have embraced this a lot. I have a lot of female students, and it's really growing everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see amazing coaches getting formed, women coaches getting formed and start teaching women and making better. So it's really growing. Back then, when I was growing up, you didn't have one woman on the academy. I remember my niece, Kira. We raised her like a princess. Everything was pink. Everything. And we couldn't talk. That drove me nuts because it's me, Half, and Haya, 3 lunatics in the house. We couldn't make a noise because my sister would come out and hit us, because gotta wake up the kid. We raised her like a princess. Suddenly, she started training. She has more titles than I do. She won everything. She proves that when a woman wants, she will do it, and she did an amazing job. Today, she has one of the best schools in Brazil, especially for kids. I went there, I saw her work. It's impressive, it's amazing.
How old is she now?
She's probably like 30, 37, 36.
Oh, so got years ahead of her.
Yeah. It's amazing the level that she brought jiu-jitsu and the propaganda. She was actually the commentator for the UFC in Brazil. She commentated all the fights and everything, and she did an amazing job making jiu-jitsu bigger and more. A lot of kids now. She has a lot of kids training her, and she does an amazing job. She has psychologists following, helping her to develop program for the kids. She does an amazing job,
James, what's your ratio male to female for students?
Ladies.
I mean, we got a lot of females. I'm not going to say we have a whole bunch or we're 50-50.
I said ladies.
Yeah.
Well, they wasn't saying nothing, and I'm holding the
I
mic.
said ladies.
I
Let
saw.
them speak.
A soft guesstimate.
Thank you, almost. Almost thank you, Linda. Almost thank you.
It's amazing thing. I begin the rest the
10%
Muay
of
Thai
our
program.
is female.
Yeah,
The
I
mo-
say roughly 10%.
Yeah.
The Muay Thai program, we have 350 students. From those, probably 200 are women.
Wow.
You know, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. And we did a very fitting thing. So they go there. They work very hard. You know, so you have people from all walks of work training Muay Thai now there. You know.
Love it.
All right, this question wasn't written down because somebody don't follow rules, but okay.
I just didn't bring my glasses. Do you and how do you train differently for each fight? And I'm specific. I was watching a fight the other night with Oleg Taktarov. And did you train any different to come up to the fight? And how surprised were you to get him to end the fight so quickly with that update?
The surprise was that Taktarov was the 7th guy that I knocked out that way. The other ones was on the street, fighting on the street. You know, I was the smallest guy. They would put me down, and I would knock them out like that. But I trained that a lot against when I went to fight Taktarov. My boxing coach would hold the mitts for me to hit the heel, because I knew he was going to come for my foot right there. You know, and it's a very funny thing, because when I knock him out, we get up, we're celebrating. Taktarov didn't know what happened. So he came over and said, "Why are you celebrating? The fight's not over." So immediately I was going to hit him. And then, but that's when you see the Russian instinct. He did right away a step back. You know? He got out of range, you know. And then I look at the promoter and I say, "Put it on again. Put the fight again." The fight was like a minute something. I say, "Put it again. Let's do it again." And then everybody went crazy. "You out of your mind. You already finished the job, done." You know? He was 230. I was 150 pounds on that fight. Wow. 150, yeah.
Nice. Next.
My other question was there like a family discussion when in '93 when Royce fought in the UFC to bring, BJJ to?
Yeah, not discussion. In reality, back then, the best was Rickson. Rickson was by far the best. Rickson could run over all of us like nothing, you know. And his jiu-jitsu was very far ahead. He was one of the best creations from Hollies, you know. And the problem was the Horion organized made the UFC, and he had a huge control over Royce. So he don't want to give that to Rickson. So he made Royce fight. You know, when the whole family believed there should have been Rickson there. You know, he made some different excuses and put Royce to fight there. You know, Royce was far from, in terms of knowledge, from Rickson. You know, Rickson was much far. Rickson was strong physically, much stronger, and with an amazing jiu-jitsu.
Okay. I got a question here from your buddy, Yako Khalili.
Yes.
He wants to know, how come you didn't take a tune-up fight before you fought Matt Hughes?
Man, I was actually sitting on a table, and I had lost my brother 3 years before. So for 3 years, I didn't do one push-up. I didn't train. I did not even want to go to the academy. You know, I was very attached to my brother Ryan. And I'm in Abu Dhabi sitting with the Sheiks and with the Fertitta brothers and Dana White. So they say, "Renzo, would you consider fighting in Abu Dhabi, the first event?" I say, "When is it?" 6 months. And I go, "To fight who?" He goes, "Matt Hughes." I say, "Yes, sign me up." So I had to lose 40 pounds and get ready in 6 months, you know. So I couldn't get there. I thought my body was going to be able to. And Matt Hughes was a very tough guy. That's why I accepted, you know. The moment that he mentioned Matt Hughes, I said, "Yes, I want it. Sign me up for this," you know. And then we fought. But I was 3 years without doing a push-up. 0. You know, and in 6 months I lost 40 pounds and I got ready to fight there, but I wasn't there ready yet, you know. I was still lacking, you know, training. But it was a great fight.
Seen some of the old YouTube videos that were dubbed over from VHS of your place in New York City. Can you just talk about some of that early training? Because you guys look like absolute monsters just going after each other in that small place. And
You have to understand one thing. I teach all the young ones. So every time they came, they test themselves with me. Every time. My brothers, my cousins. So it was training sessions that would stop everything. you know, and it was like we're trying to kill each other, giving everything we had. I couldn't lose my place in the table, you know, because we say, if you lose, you got to sit on the side. You don't sit on the head. So I couldn't lose the head of the table, and I had to give everything. And that made those kids, every single one, unbelievable, you know. And this was something that I had to change a little after, because that would frighten the students. A lot of the new students, they would get shocked with the level of intensity that we train, you know. And every training was like we're fighting. And that was like that since very young age, you know.
You can see that in the video.
Yeah, it was a different speed, different intensity, you know. The students would freak out. One time I was teaching a seminar in Brazil, and my brother walks in. The last time I saw him, we had an argument in Japan. So he walked in already warming up. I'm in the middle of a seminar in a camp in Brazil. So he looked at me, let's go. I tell the guys against the wall. And then we went. And when I got close to him, he's like in a defense. I said, don't worry, I'm not going to punch you. Because for the insult, you know, that he was doing, then we went at each other like crazy, you know. And when I'm going after him like a nut job, we're going. My father gives an advice to my brother. So I look at him and I say, you're rooting for the wrong guy. Don't get involved. As a father, be quiet. You know, and my father said after, that was stupid of me to say something. Say, it's 2 kids, you're 2 kids. How come you're going to give directions to one? You know? And then I finish him. I got him. You know?
Which brother?
Higher. That was
Higher.
my war all the time. And in the end, we're not talking to each other, and then he brings me water. He brings me a glass of water. I drink the water. Peace was made.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just to expand on his question about your basement, in that, you know, it's a lot of mythos now. You've got so many greats that came out of that basement. I would just like to, what was it like trying to be in that moment, capturing that lightning? Like, how did it look from the outside, seeing all of that greatness that you were cultivating?
It's the most rewarding thing ever. This is what we were able to produce there was the product of a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of love. You know, what people don't know, they go today in my academy, there is 3 floors, the street level, the 1 floor on top, and the basement. Back then, I had only 1 piece of the basement, a small piece, and that's how we began. And again, like I was telling him today, you have to make the place a place that people don't want to leave. All these guys that you see shining now, they used to arrive at the academy 7:30 in the morning, and they would leave at 6. And for them to be, people say Gordon Ryan, for Gordon Ryan to be at the academy at 7:30, he had to leave Jersey at 4:30. They would come 8 people in 1 car, and they bring their food, they bring everything, they spend the whole day down there, you know, training, seeing knowledge. That's why those guys reach a black belt level in 4 years, which was unheard of before. These guys, his brother went into the competition from the 10th planet. He finished everybody. He finished all the black belts. Then they found out he's 16. He just turned 16. He just got his blue belt. So this was unheard of before. A blue belt beat a black belt. This never happened, you know? And the difference was the intensity that we trained, the strategy that we had to pass to them, how to beat this. And I knew the weakness of the weakness of the jiu-jitsu guys. That's why we work a lot in leg locks. Back then, leg locks weren't allowed. What came after leg locks? The back attacks. Why? Every time you defend a leg lock, you turn your back. So we combined this, and we made it in a way that made them very successful, you know? Made their jiu-jitsu really leap forward, and they did an unbelievable job. You know, but I think what made the difference was the fact that I made the place so likable that people want to stay there the whole day, you know? They would even leave, go around the block, go somewhere, and come back right in to train, to learn more, to watch another class. Classes the whole day, you know? So that made a huge difference.
I got a question. So for as long as I guess anybody knows, it's always been Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've never heard anybody say Italian Jiu-Jitsu. You know, what's your opinion on American Jiu-Jitsu?
It's our kid. It's our baby. It's beginning now. What happened is, you have to understand, people get pissed, people get angry with this.
Yeah,
I don't get insulted, because the reason is everybody wants to be unique. Everybody looks to be different, to create something, to make a beautiful kid, to make a new creation that will shine. So this is what they are looking for. Why? If it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's like everybody else that does. The reality, what's the name of the art? It is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because back then there was the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. So when we learn and we adapted, start changing everything. And in reality, the name of this art should have been Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. But what happened? I got sued by Harden when I moved to America. Why? I was teaching Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I couldn't use the name Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So that's how little his mind was, without realizing. I look at him and I say, you're going to force me to make Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu bigger than Gracie Jiu-Jitsu? Yeah, right. When he sent me the contract to sign, to close the deal, to stop the lawsuit, he put a clause that says, every time I write Renzo, I had to use Renzo Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So the Renzo and the Gracie had to be the same size. So I said to him, I'm sorry, but you cannot limit my imagination, my creations. So if I want to use the name Renzo and not use the name Gracie, make the Gracie small, how that happen? Yeah, right, like this is going to happen one day. I get to my academy, my daughters are running my academy. I get there, our backpack has Renzo written this size and no Gracie. I go to my daughter, say, what is this? Dad, the students ask. They want your name like this. They ask us to make like this. They don't want, because they associate the Gracie with them too. So suddenly, exactly what I told him 27 years ago, now you go to my academy, everything it's Renzo, Renzo. I say, put Gracie there, because that's my grandson's name, and I wanted this to live. I'm not part of fading this, you know? It doesn't matter how stupid some people were in trying to control you or try to claim an art that doesn't belong to them. It doesn't belong to us. This art belongs to the world. We are nothing but the knights who carry this art forward. You know, we have the obligation to watch after and make sure that shines and goes forward and crosses generations, you know. This is our own obligation. I don't own Jiu-Jitsu. That's why when I see him, when I got there today and I saw the new shirts that he made, I love it. You know, I was telling him a story, like they made a bag in Abu Dhabi where they got the biggest Jiu-Jitsu schools in the world and they make the patches. So they have the Velcro. You buy the patch and you put any patch you want. So when I get there, the guy shows my logo. I say, oh man, this is nice. I love it. I want to buy one. You know, I want to buy a bag and no, we have one for you, Renzo. That moment, the guy looks at the other and says, did you see this? What I told you, Renzo was going to be the only one that would get here and be happy we made this. They already received a phone call from 2 other academies threatening to sue them if they don't stop making that. The guy is spreading your name in the middle of a place where you don't have an academy, you don't exist, and putting your name out there and you not saying thank you. You know, that's the difference. You know, and the guy told me, I knew Renzo would be happy when he saw this. You know? And this was like 3 weeks ago that happened.
Wow.
Any more questions? Okay, so what? Oh man, you don't
Boy, they almost sleepy, but throw some coffee on these guys, rapaz.
Absolutely.
Boy, I'm just waking up now.
So, Master Renzo, we've I think most of us have been around the community for a while. Every school has that one or two individuals that don't necessarily compete, work a lot, or maybe have a 9-to-5 job. Out of all the years that you've been training, who is the most unknown individual but has the most exceeding talent that maybe nobody would ever know that doesn't compete?
John Donahoe was an amazing and never compete. John was a very sad guy when he came to the academy. He was like a bodybuilder. Every time he trained, he had an injury. I told him, stop lifting weights a little, stretch, do more jiu-jitsu. And an extremely, extremely smart guy, an unbelievable mind. For you to have an idea, we had our computer stole it from the academy after he wrote 98 pages of our book. The book that you just had me to sign. Yes. Someone stole it, the computer. So I go to him. Someone stole the computer. He goes, oh, the book was there. I say, how did you write 98 pages? I say, oh, damn, he wrote 98 pages. Someone stole the computer. I say, how are we going to do this? Oh, no worries. I have everything in my head. I will rewrite right away. In a day,
Wow.
he rewrote everything he had written before. So it's a different, And when you have a mind like this, a lot of times you have ups and downs. He comes to me. The only person he smiles when he sees it's me, nobody else. It's a very funny thing. And I teach the class, I run the academy, I do the things, and he always comes to me and says, Renzo, I wish I was more like you. I wish I could deal with people like you do. He cannot interact with no one, he cannot, it's very difficult. He may choose one or two people, and that's it. And he was, when I got him to start teaching at the academy, he was writing about religion. He had over 650 pages already written about religion. So I say, what are you writing about? He goes, religion. I'm writing about this and all the religion, history, the whole. I say, my man. And I have to be honest, he was always depressed, always sad. And I said to him, my man, you got to stop writing about this religion. Religion is the cause of fights, of killing people, fighting without a reason. If they really believe in God, they wouldn't be angry with nobody. They would treat everybody the same. So they justify and they create words that will change, and then they go to war because religion. Say, how you want to talk? I go to Israel. Oh, I cannot even tell you the stories that I have there. I took my whole family there, and I visit places. I put prayers in places that only opened 3 years later. I was teaching the Shimpad, the special forces there, so they would take me everywhere. And there were situations that it's funny. In the end, people loved me there. It was different. There was a very famous trip that we did. They took me to the wall in a place that would open only 3 years later. I put my prayers there, and then we go grab a bite. Everybody with guns, and they take me to a place. Renzo, here it's a street that they have everything. They have every religion together there. We're gonna sit here on a Jewish restaurant, and we eat and we leave. We cannot stay here for too long. And the guys couldn't relax. It's a place where people get stabbed all the time. It's a mess. I said, no problem. I sat down on the place. We ordered for the Jewish food. I look on the other side. It's an Arabic place. I go, Salam alaikum. The guy look at me. I go, bring the menu. I order the Arabic food. I look at over there, Christian food. Get the Christian food here too on the table. Next thing you see, I start putting people on the table with us. We had every religion sitting down in our table eating with us. The guy that was telling me to get out of there quick, in the end he goes, I never seen this here. Like everybody eating together, making fun of each other, talking about Israel, talking about what they believe, and that was the first time he saw this. This never happened before, And it's because it's how I see it. It's like, it doesn't matter. If you're a Jew, I'm a Jew. You're going to see me as a Jew. There was a very funny situation. Wherever I go, the Arabic sees me as I'm Arabic. I go to Japan like I'm a Japanese, like wherever I go. we don't have this difference. It's, it's different, And I always said that you want to fix the line of Gaza, put a jiu-jitsu school there. Boy, I had two students in New York. One was Iranian, the other one Orthodox Jew. And they train together every day. Every day they train together. They go at each other, try to kill each other. They make fun. They pick on. They talk bad about each other, the whole time. One day I'm sitting down. The Jewish guy goes, even if you cut his head, he's dangerous. I say, how the hell do you cut his head? Is he dangerous? How? He may explode. We all laugh, We all immediately laugh. As a guy. Even the Iranian guy is laughing. So, this is the rhythm of the academy. After a while, the Iranian guy has to go back. He goes back to Iran. First week, the Jewish guy comes a few times, and he was a brown belt. A few times. Next week, he comes overdressed, doesn't put the gi. I say, we're not going to train. And he goes, no, Renzo, I came here just to tell you something. I'm not going to train anymore. I say, why? You're brown belt, you're going to get your black soon. No, I'm going to start teaching. He was a karate instructor too. He goes, I'm going to start teaching karate to the kids, the poor kids in Brooklyn. I'm not going to come back training anymore. I say, why? Renzo, I miss the terrorist. I miss him. I miss my brother from Iran. He's not here anymore. And I come here and think of him. I'm not coming back. He never came back. He comes just to visit. It's unbelievable. It's, very incredible. And there's a lot of situations like during over 15 years, 16 years, I sat down to have dinner with the Mossad. The Mossad would visit the sheikh, who's a brother of mine, and we would sit down and we talk about a bunch of things, And every time the sheikh brought me to the dinners, with them. I have 3 schools in Israel. So he'll bring me. So then one day I say, man, this dinners is always a little. He goes, Renzo, yeah, they still don't trust me 100%. We're still building the relationship, They still don't trust me. I say, but they think I'm a spy. Sometimes they can consider that I can be a spy, so we're not 100%. So I said, so this guy is probably checking my phone, checking my emails, everything. He goes, this they are doing for a long time already. They checking everything. I look at him. I hope they like porno. He start laughing. He's very serious. He start laughing immediately. Quack, quack, you are crazy. What happened? I got a phone call. And the phone call goes like this. Renzo, did you just see what happened 3 hours ago? I say, let me guess. What Trump is trying to take the credit when I know it was you who did it, because I was there. That was the first plane from Israel that landed there. So they put a central there. Before, if you went to Israel and you stamped your passport, you couldn't get in any Arab country. And the same thing other way around. If you went to a Muslim country, they wouldn't let you in Israel. So together for over 16 years, he's there negotiating, making. He gets the plane there. When that plane lands, 3 hours later, he calls me. And I say to him, what Trump is trying to take your credit when I know you did it? He goes like this. My money is nothing. My money will come from the ground, like garbage. If 200 years from now, the kids don't look back and say, that man changed our life for better. That man improved the world. I fail. I really fail, and the reason why I'm alive. So I said to him, how the hell do you remember this? I told you this in 1996, when you didn't have a job, when you were just a kid that finished college. That's when I met him. And he goes, Renzo, how could I forget? That day you changed my life. You made me understand why I was alive. And I go, I understand you. That's why I love you so much, my brother. One of the most amazing souls I have ever met in my life.
It's awesome. We got another question right here from Mohammed.
So I was talking to a friend, and he said, like, out of all the Gracies, you're the most, like, well-rounded fighter.
I thought you were gonna say that I was the best looking one. What's wrong with you?
Gorgeous.
It was a very funny thing because they never expect when I came to fight. I box. I did everything. I trained everything. Judo. The first guy that I fought was a judo Olympian. He was like in 3 Olympic. He was like 2 times world champion, and I took him down in the end. You know, I fought a wrestler, Division I wrestler. You know, on my second match, same thing. I took him down because I trained wrestling. I trained especially combined, and they never expect. They only knew Royce because the way the Royce fought. They didn't know like a Gracie could throw a punch or kick or, you know. That's why like Tatarov, the day that I finished him, that I said, put it on again, the whole thing. After he saw the tape, he came to apologize. He goes, nobody told me that you could do this. He told me that. Nobody told me that you could kick or, you know. It was very, very interesting that because I love fighting on every sense. That's what I learned from Hollis. I used to watch Hollis boxing, kicking, doing everything, you know. So my whole life I train everything. You gotta be complete, you know.
Absolutely.
First, I'd like to give you a recommendation of a movie that we talked about earlier called the Smashing Machine. It's by Mark Coleman.
Am I in it?
Mark Kerr.
Am I in?
No, it's back in the day. No, you're not in it.
You didn't watch them. I'm in it, boy.
You are in that?
Smash Machine, yeah.
Yeah.
In reality, the guy who made Smash Machine, he was gonna do it on me, but then he got cured with the drug problem. So the studio, everybody decided to go more towards their way. But that guy has amazing footage of me because that was when I got to America. That was the beginning, you know. The first fights in Japan, 1998, I think, the first fights in Japan.
My question is, what's your thoughts on the modern Army combatives and how it's come up from its beginnings to where it is now?
It's really changing because knowledge is out there. You know, there was a very funny thing, like I said, like my uncle, my cousin Horion wouldn't allow us to push jiu-jitsu to teach the technique. I say, what do you think? American people are stupid? You're gonna be hiding knowledge and you expect to do well? Well, which part you don't understand? That's what happened to Japan. Japan forbade to teach foreigners jiu-jitsu. What happened? Japan forgot jiu-jitsu. We go teach jiu-jitsu today in Japan. So this is, you live in, you don't look at the past. You only look at your blind side. It's like a horse with those side view things, you know. So in reality, more I teach, better I get. That's the reality because it comes back to me new knowledge from those situations, you know. And that's the reality. You know, so now the combatives are improving a lot because I went to Fort Bragg. They had a program in there with my name on it. You know, and next thing I see, the guy gave me the colonel gave me his green beret. And he goes, Renzo, they took me to see the ceremony of the new green beret, and he gave me his. And he goes, Renzo, 25 years ago when I got this, I say, one day I'm going to give this to Renzo as a gift. So I have it in my house. And I'm going to frame it and put it at the academy for sure, you know?
Have you ever been to one of your academies?
But I'll say his name is Jay Abbott. He's a good friend of ours.
Well, why you cannot say his rank? Porra. Everybody talks about my red and black belt. Porra, that makes me old. Now I make him old too. I know. What amazing job they do there. Yes. Unbelievable,
Awesome guy.
Have you ever been to one of your academies and had to restructure their promotions? Like you felt like they were promoting too fast or promoting for attendance and not the right way?
You have to, I don't care for the belt. The reality, it's like I want to give you knowledge. I want to make you beyond you could ever dream. And some people, they are vain. And normally, if you look, it's the people who don't shine, who's always worrying about the belt. You know? it's like I told you, like next thing you see, imagine the Gracie name being deleted from because a bunch of stupid guys go try to trademark and claim that it belongs to them, that I cannot use it, you know? You stole it, the logo of my Uncle Holly's, they stole it. That's the logo that they have. And it's like that was the logo that I wish I had in my academy now, because that's who I represent. And I couldn't, you know? So it's like you're going to close your mind, your growth is going to be poor. You're not going to, you know, you're not going to shine. It's like I have a quote that says, I feel sorry of the souls who live without trying to achieve eternity. You know, that's the reality. Those who don't embrace eternity to live forever. You know? It's like everywhere I go now, I meet a Renzo. I meet a new, and that name I never seen before growing up. You know, now everywhere I go, I meet a Renzo. There's one here now I'm going to meet tomorrow. You know, and he's coming to see us tomorrow and bring his son. His name is Renzo.
And James, what's the times tomorrow? What do we got going on?
The seminar goes from 12 to 2. Get there a little bit early so we can get you guys squared away.
And I have a brand new gi that looks beautiful.
Yeah, you do.
That's what's up. Professor, you got anything before we wrap it all up?
Oh, no, sir. What a great evening.
Oh, absolutely.
Let me tell you just one more story. Remember the kid that I told you guys that was slow and broke his shoulder? I didn't finish the story. I'm sitting down there with the psychologist, and he goes, Renzo, in bullying in school, here, nobody is going to do nothing. The kid gets bullied, nobody gets involved, not even the teacher. Do you want to see something? If that kid could have a hold in a gun, he would shoot everybody in school. I say, you out of your mind. He goes, look. He calls him Adam, and he speaks he goes like this, yes, Carlos, if you had access to a gun when you were in high school, what would you do? I would shoot everyone, including the teachers, because they never defend me. I was freaked out. And he goes, Renzo, you don't see this in Brazil because it doesn't happen. But here, it's such a distance, even the teacher don't get involved. You know, if the kid's getting bullied or being making fun of, you know. So I was very surprised. And this kid, after 22 years, he got his black belt. And you have to do a speech when you get a black belt. He goes to me, he begins the speech like this. In my life, I never thought I was going to have one friend my whole life until I crossed those doors. Then I realized I didn't have friends, I had a family. And this is the place that makes me the most happy is when I'm here. You know? So that for me was the most I have recorded, was the most important speech I have ever heard in my life, you know? Like the moment that I crossed that door, I realized I didn't have just friends, I had a family, you know? It's amazing, yeah. And that's what a Jiu-Jitsu Academy should be, you know? And when I see different, I feel sorry for whoever's running, you know, something just looking for money. The money will come if you do a good job, you know? I learned that, especially in America. You get rewarded if you do the right things, you know?
Beautiful.
Indeed.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Master Renzo. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Well, they told me this was going to be 1 hour, half an hour. How long ago?
This was 2 hours and 5 minutes.
God damn, But
But hey,
I did a lecture at the Tony Robbins convention, right? They brought me over, I did the lecture. So I was supposed to talk for an hour. So the woman tells me, look, when it's 1 hour, I'm going to go there, do like this. I say, okay. I go in, I begin talking. Then suddenly I see the woman go there. I go, bye, keep it going. Suddenly the woman goes again. I go, and I'm thinking, she already said bye 2 times. What's wrong with her? And I keep talking. 3 hours and a half. 480 people sitting down. Then the woman comes back. I go, 3rd time you saying bye. We're not leaving? I said, I forgot that was the sign. She goes, Tony Robbins is waiting. All the guests are here. Nobody leaves. So they're waiting for lunch, So everybody left.
Well, I'll tell you what, stick around, get some more pictures. Definitely shake hands and say hello, and don't forget about tomorrow night, right, James? What times are we looking at?
12 to 2.
Beautiful.
Tomorrow afternoon.
You don't want to miss out. Absolutely. Once again, Master Renzo.
Thank you. Well, you don't say nothing.
Come here,